all about teaching the dog how to follow your voice, your body, and your leash. I want to teach the dog to follow my voice, so when I say heel, the dog responds and goes into the heel command. I want to be able to move with my body, and the dog goes into heel. And I want to be able to move my leash, use my leash, where I just move it, and the dog responds to that. And if I was to move around this way and get the dog, I want to get that dog following me. Good boy. Good boy. And he follows my lead, so I can continue talking to you while he understands exactly what he's supposed to be doing, and he follows my leash in the heel command. Teaching a dog to respond not only to a verbal cue, but specifically to follow your leash. The movement of the leash, the pressure of the leash, the touch of the leash. I don't have to use pressure and tension to get the dog to respond to me. I want to be able to use movement. So when I just move that lead, the dog responds to it. Beautiful, mate. Very good. Good boy. Good boy. Beautiful work. One of the most important things that we could focus on is the positioning of where you are to the dog, where your hand is to the dog, and where the leash is to the dog. Now, most people, when they're walking with the dog, their hand is behind their back, the leash is in front, and the dog in front of that. Now, dogs don't have verbal communication, so the one who physically walks in front immediately take on the job of scanner, decision maker, assessing the environment, using their sight, smell, sound, touch, and prior experiences. It immediately becomes their responsibility to make decisions about everything. Now, the way we get the dog to follow us is never by tugging them backwards. When a dog walks in front of us, they're asking a question. They're saying, "Excuse me, mum, dad, owner, handler, pack leader, who's leading this walk? Who's leading the hunt? Who's making decisions? Who's deciding who's good, bad, or a threat? What direction? What speed of travel? Where we're going? Who's deciding all these things? Have you got the weight of the world on your shoulders, or is it on mine?" Now, in their natural environment, the one who walks in front, they're in front because they're faster. They outrun the other one. The other one says, "No, I'm faster," he takes lead. And they have this competition until one of them sustains the lead role for the longest. Now, in our world, when we're walking with the dog, the first thing the dog does when we walk outside is ask us, "Excuse me, are you leading or am I leading? Who's walking in front? Who's making these decisions?" Now, the way they ask that question, they don't have words, so they ask with intention. They walk in front of you. And the first thing we do is we tug them backwards. We say, "I don't like that when you pull in front, I'm going to pull you backwards." Now, the reason why this doesn't work is because dogs, first of all, they don't pull each other backwards. When one dog wants to tell another dog, "Come here and chase me," you'll see they'll always give a nip and they'll run forward like that, and they'll get the other one to engage. Good boy. Beautiful. A lot of times what people do when they're walking with their dog is they tug their dog backwards, trying to tell their dog to get back in line when the dog's going too far ahead. And this causes a lot of frustration with the dog, because the dog, you tug the dog backwards, the dog gets in front of you, you want to tell him not to get in front, so you pull pressure backwards, and the dog looks at you and says, "Wait, but you're still walking forward. You're trying to tell me to go backwards while you're walking forward at the same time. I don't get it." And this is where the dog starts to become frustrated. Now, if you offer the dog treats and food and bribery to follow you on a loose lead outside, where there's so many unknown variables and so many scents and dogs and dangers and excitement, it's going to be very difficult for them to focus on the treats and see that as value. And we want to earn them with respect and love. And so the dog looks at us, and then we don't have a situation where I'm constantly sitting there trying to give him a treat and tell him, "Please stay with me." He stays here because he knows that's his job and he's got to stay there. Now, the way that I teach the dog to heel is I like the dog to respond to my voice, my body, and my leash. Now, when I start walking, I say the word heel, I start walking. We head up north, let's say. The dog says, "Where are we going, north? Who's taking point, you or me?" He gets in front. The moment the dog gets in front of me, I say, "Did you think we're going north?" "No!" 180-degree turn. Now, you've got to make sure when you're doing this that you're walking only in a straight line. The moment you start to zigzag and you don't know where you're going, you're going to confuse the dog. So initially when you're teaching the dog, you want to give the dog just like a runway or a footpath back and forth or a corridor. I start to walk, I say heel. Good boy, beautiful, mate. Now if he gets in front of me here, I say, "Did you think we're going north?" "No, we're not going north, we're going south." I change direction. He's now behind. Now, every time he gets in front of me, I'm going to change direction. I'm going to look at him, touch forward. I'm going to turn, I'm going to look at him, I'm going to touch forward. Now, one of the most important things you want to focus on when you're doing this is that your leash stays loose at all times. The moment you start to apply pressure to a dog, look what he does. He starts to stress and pull against it immediately. If I want to get him to respond, I've got to use a lack of pressure and get him to move with that. If I apply constant pressure, he's going to naturally resist against it. So, good boy. Now, the way that I teach him how to do this is every time he gets in front of me, I'm going to change direction, go 180-degree turn, so the dog's on my left. Always turn away from the dog to your right. Never turn into the dog, because if I turn into the dog, then he goes first. But if I turn away from the dog, then I'm the first in contact with my environment. I want to be the one to lead him, so when he says, Bear, where are we going? North, who's taking point? And he walks in front of me, I want to say, did you think we're going north? No, we're going south. Where were you in the board meeting? You don't know the plan. I do a 180-degree turn. When I do my turn, I always watch him and I make sure my lead stays loose. Okay, because if I turn like this, my lead immediately goes tight. And now I'm pulling him around the turn. Rather than giving him direction, I'm now giving him correction, and he starts to anticipate pressure. Every time he gets on that bend, and he'll start to pull away when you get on the turn. So you want to make sure that you don't put him in a situation where you cause him to pull against and away from him. So I turn, I say heel, good boy, and I praise him. Beautiful, mate. Very good. What a good boy. Heel, very good. Good boy. I never tell the dog to get back in line. There's no tug backwards like this when you're training the dog. If you tug the dog backwards, you're going to make them want to pull against it and go forward. It's not about correction, it's about giving the dog direction and showing them what to do, not what not to do. If I want to tell the dog says, where are we going north, and he gets in front of me, I say, we're going south, and I show him where to go. We're going this way, look, come on, catch up. Good boy. Beautiful, mate. Very good. Good boy. Very good. What a good boy. Now, the reason why I use that touch, good boy. The reason why I use that touch is because it's the same thing that dogs do to each other. If you see one dog telling another dog to come, you'll see them do a play bow, and then they go, hug, and give a little nip or a little poke on the neck, and then they run away. They say, come on, let's go. You, we're going over there. And they tell the other dog to go over there.